Welcome back, everybody. Terrible at fishing. I know, terrible at fishing. That's a funny name for a show, especially for you to tune in and find out about fishing. I am the expert at being terrible. So, this week, beautiful week, starting to get the bug. I went to the Fly Fishing Club's meeting on Tuesday, and we had a biologist there for ODFW. His name was Bill Tenniswood, and he had a wonderful presentation on all the rivers and not all the lakes, but we're going to talk about it because I did ask about them, and the creeks and stuff like that. His suggestions on where to fish, and some of the fish counts. You're all probably wondering about salmon and steelhead. So we're going to be covering all of that in today's show. And I am doing this before I forget everything. I did take a picture of all of his slides. So I'm looking on my little phone here, although phones are not little anymore. And I'm going to try to refresh my memory of all the things that he mentioned. So let's talk a little bit about some of the simple lakes around here before we get into other areas like Lake County. So, I mean, I'm not even sure. Lake County is not like far east from us, I do believe. And he made it sound like everything was really, 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 really far away. Yeah, okay, it's east of Klamath. So it's pretty far. But we're going to talk a little bit about Lake County, as well as Klamath County. But let's talk about Lake of the Woods. Around the perimeter is it has perimeter thaw, so from right along the banks, and then you've got sort of an open area to the ice. So, but it still has ice out on the majority of the lake. Fish Lake has more open water, but still a lot of ice on Fish Lake. So if you want to do some bank fishing, you probably can get some fish off the banks at both of those lakes right now. He gave me some wonderful information about Gerber Lake and Thompson Reservoir. Now, Thompson Reservoir is one of those that they've been stocking really, really heavy. And they expect a lot of great fishing at Thompson Reservoir. Also, over at Gerber Lake, too. Gerber Lake is another great lake that will spill over this year. And, the crappie are really, really good there. I mean, it's a great crappie lake. To be honest, there are two lakes I like to go crappie fishing at, which is Emigrant Lake in Ashland and Gerber Lake over here. If you go south of Gerber Lake, there's Willow Valley. Willow Valley will spill over too. But I happen to like Willow Valley. But if you go there, you really need to understand that lake a little bit in order to catch some really big bass. And it's a great big bass lake. But there are certain areas of that lake that are fantastic for big bass. So we do have some really good fishing just around here. Now, they're actually spawning. The bass are actually in spawn right now over in Bonanza on Lost Creek. Lost Creek. I always get them confused. But anyway, that in the hot springs there. So there's some really good fishing that's going to be hitting there pretty good as soon as the beds are, as soon as they spawn. So it's really a fantastic time. Like I said, we're starting to get the itch, aren't we? So let's go over some of the things that I learned this week at the Fly Fishing Club's presentation. So at Lake County, which is east of us, come to find out. It's pretty far away. But, when we had our droughts from 20 to 22, it pretty much dried up everything. So in 23 and 20 through this year, last few years, we've had really good water, above average water years, from 23 to 25. So some of the eastern reservoirs are, I don't even know what a rain shadow is, but he mentions they're in the rain shadow. Some of you probably know what that is. So Warner Pond is one of those ponds that is doing really, really well right now for trout. And it is a very good pond. They and also the Duncan Reservoir. The good news is the bullhead, because of the drought, it had dried it up. All the bullhead that people have planted in there are gone. So you don't have to worry about them. It was spilling over in 2023, and it's spilling right now. And they were stocked with fingerling and 10-inch trout in 23 and 24. So the fishing there should be hitting pretty good. Then there's Heart Lake. Heart Lake in 2022 was treated with rhododendron, and to remove all those brown bullhead catfishes. And rhododendron is something that is common. It removes the oxygen out of the water, but it comes back. After the rhododendron does its work, it really comes back and becomes a very good eco environment for food for the fish. And in 1955, Lake of the Woods was treated with it because of the suckerfish, and it killed everything in Lake of the Woods in 55. And look at Lake of the Woods now. It's my favorite and probably one of the best fishing holes you could go to. It's been stocked with fingerlings, eagles, and trophies of rainbow trout, and to jumpstart that fishery. So, and then there's Heart Lake. Heart Lake is fishing very good right now. And boy, he showed me a picture of something like, I think it's a saddest, biggest, fattest rainbow trout over at Big Rock Reservoir. Now Withers Lake looks like a really cute lake. I got to check this lake out. It's probably too far for me to go, but Withers Lake, it looks adorable. And it is you can't, with Withers Lake, you can't take a gas engine on that. So it's got to be an electric or a float tube or something like that. Blue Lake is doing really, really well, and you want to use those Blue Lake damsels. They showed the inside of one fish. Evidently, they like these little buggers. Cottonwood Meadows is hitting really big trout right now. The brook trout and rainbow trout over at Cottonwood Meadows. But April and May is the best time to be fishing them, and then October, November. Electric motors only, if you have a motor at all. So if you're fly fishing, use minnow patterns, midges, and damsels. Excuse me. Chewaucan River is doing very well too. And he was really stressing Site 4, and I think it was Site 8. Let me look. Yeah. Site 4 and Site 8 were really the game changers on the Chewaucan River. So he gave us a lot of really good pointers there. Places to fish in 2025 in Lake County is the Warner Pond, Cottonwood Meadows, Heart Lake, Duncan Reservoir, and Rivers End Reservoir, although there was a trick to get in there because that's private property, but you got to go upriver off of 33. And there's he says a largemouth bass is hitting really good there. I'm going to have to check this place out. I think we're going to get a little adventurous this season. And, I want to do more river fishing, so the boat won't be used every time I go out. Although, it it is an inflatable, so maybe I'll throw a kayak in there or something like that, and maybe we hit some of these places. So now black drake hatches, that's what you want to use on the Williamsons River. The Williamsons is one of those spots and that you want to be using black drake hatches. Also the Sprague is doing really well, and the Wood River has gotten some really big old giant beasts out of it. Now he did show it's a strange picture, you got to see it. Sun Creek brook trout. He shows this giant brook trout with a rat in it, or a vole. Yeah, he ate it. Dude, I did not know trout ate rats. I know my boys, the largemouth bass, do. But this beast, I got a picture of it right here. He ate a rat. They got little mouths. He ate a whole vole. Anyway, evidently you could catch those babies on those. So, if you want to throw out a rat, or something that looks like it, you could do that. All right, so he had this big chart, and this is the spawning. They got spawning here, and then fish counts. So, the only area that was really in the positive was Crystal Creek, and its peak count was 357 at Crystal Creek. So it was the only area that was actually up in their fish count. Now there are some honorable mentions, Crooked Creek and its tributaries. The total red count there is 445. It's about normal. And then we had the Wood River. Peak count was 242, as well as the Sprague River and Comaquan Springs. Peak count was about 251. So, again, not up, but not bad for those rivers. The Williamsons had a peak count at the moment 98. So, the lower Williamson is one of my favorite places for red-banded. You could catch some big, I have a video on Terrible at Fishing of me catching a 21.5-inch red band in the Williamsons. And it's a fantastic, beautiful, 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 beautiful fish. So, but the Williamsons, I think it opens up on Memorial Day, so Indy 500 hits, so does that. And but if you're indigenous, you can fish it whenever you want. Remember too, Williamson's only allows a single prong hook. They changed that a couple of years ago, and treble hooks are outlawed there. So you don't want to be caught with treble hook on your line. I made a special box just for the Wood River, or for the Williamsons River. I've never done the Wood River. Again, I'm going to be exploring, a lot of these areas, and I want to see how these rivers and creeks actually fish. And since I'm learning how to fly fish, it's just one of those things I'm going to have to figure out and go ahead and do that. All right, so we're going to take a break here, and then we're going to go into what the biologist said about the dam removals and where to fish on the Klamath when it opens up, and what their counts are thus far. You might not be surprised, you might be surprised. So stay tuned, and please support community radio and this station. And hey, how about Terrible at Fishing? See you in a few minutes. All right, welcome back to Terrible at Fishing. So, dam removals. Oh boy, did that get everybody all riled up? One way or the other. People got riled up. So, I was a skeptic, just tell you that. But the more I learned about it, the more I saw why they did it. Um, but I'm sort of a put up or shut up. When I see it, I believe it type of guy. So when they first removed those dams, they pretty much, the river was gross, smelled like a sewer system. But there has been some nice surprises, on the California side. Now we haven't seen a whole lot on the Oregon side of the Klamath yet, but we're going to talk about that. So they got a new boat ramp evidently over at the J.C. Boyle area. I did not know that because I haven't been down there. And so they got a new boat ramp there, and so we're going to talk. Well, let's start on the southern end. The caldera from J.C. Boyle Dam, where it used to be, down to the Caldera Rapids. All right, and so below the J.C. Boyle Dam, or what used to be the dam, Chinook salmon, the max daily Chinook count is 93. All right, and total reds, the red banded, are 87. Now, a lot of this action is down near the Caldera Rapids. I guess it's class 4, class 5 rapids. So I would say jump in, but coho salmon. All right, probably wondering about this. Coho salmon, coho count 19. Okay. And this was back in December, all right? And total reds 15 back in December. So we're starting to see them, right along there. Now go up to the above the J.C. Boyle Dam, what again doesn't really exist, and just past Spencer Creek, that area of Klamath River, max daily Chinook count was 88. All right, that's the Chinooks, and this was back in October. Okay, total reds were 65. Now cohos, none. All right, so those coho that were spotted was down south of J.C. Boyle, down near the Caldera Rapids. Now, Spencer Creek. Spencer Creek is a great creek to fish. A lot of people see a lot of stuff there, a lot of good stuff. Now, the max daily Chinook count there was 182 in Spencer Creek. 182. And that was in November. Total reds, 81. No coho. All right, no coho. Not yet. Now, I don't know how many miles that is to the Caldera Rapids, but they'll make it up there in time. So Spencer Creek is a really good spot. I would love to give that a shot this year. I will give it a shot this year. So now Klamath River won't open until the 15th of April. So don't go into it until the 15th, next week. Now, above the Keno area up to the Link River, or Link River Dam, there has been no salmon observed, no Chinook or coho. But someone showed me a picture of a big old giant sturgeon in the Link that was caught. Link River. It's only got like 8 inches of water. How did that? My goodness. That's sick. So, Agency Lake is another really good area where the Wood River's mouth is. That's a really good area for fishing as well. So, at this moment, we on the Oregon side, all right, we barely, I mean, unless you go right near the border, in those rapids, the Caldera Rapids, we've not seen any Chinook and no steelhead have been observed on the Oregon side of the Klamath River. Now, some people might be, somebody did catch a 24-inch, what they said is a still, but they didn't take a picture. Now, you can catch a 24-inch red and confuse you a little bit. So, I don't know if that actually happened, but there are, in time, yes, we will be getting our steelhead. Now, some interesting points like the Keno Dam, that's still there. And it's an older fish ladder. So that fish ladder, they will be updating it, but it could still work for the steelhead and salmon, but it can be better. And they will be updating that fish ladder. And once they update it and the river reestablishes itself with steelhead and the coho, then we'll be able to see these species in our front yard. The Link River dam actually was upgraded a number of years ago. I forgot how many. I have a show on that. It's in a book right above my head somewhere. But, down where the Copco dams were and Iron Gate, those areas are seeing a good revitalization of the river, and the salmon is steelhead. So it's just over the border. So that's top picks to be fishing this year. The Wood River for browns in April and through July, or in browns April and July through August. So this is a good time for the Wood River browns. Also, the Upper Williamsons, and where the Sprague meets it. Used black drakes. This is in June. Okay. And the Wood River Red Band in June and July, and then, of course, September. Agency Lake, I just mentioned that, at the Wood River mouth in June through July. So as these areas will open up, we will be able to get some really good fishing. I know, we thought, this is actually a fishing show today, huh? It's like all of this stuff. And I'm learning bugs. And I don't know what all these bugs are. And, some of these areas, they don't allow, baits, so it's fly fishing, no plastic baits, and stuff like that. So please, you need to consult the regulations for some of these areas, like the Wood River and the Williamsons River, like I was telling you, a single hook. And understand before you go out there, I don't want y'all to get in trouble, and because ignorance is never a good excuse to tell the game warden. But hopefully you got your fishing license all ironed out. And this year is proving to be a really good wet. We're looking at good water flows on the rivers and the creeks. We've got our reservoirs like Willow Valley and Gerber and Thompson. We're looking at spillovers and really good water flows there. So, they did when Topsy, when they removed the J.C. Boyle Dam. Before they did that, they harvested the fish in the Topsy Reservoir, or the J.C. Boyle Reservoir there. I was out there one day and I watched them do it. I had never seen them do it before. They put electrodes and they shock the water, and it paralyzes the fish, and they scoop them up and they relocate them. Now, the cool thing is like over in J.C. Boyle, they had some really nice bass there. They still do, which is really cool. And so we might be able to catch some nice largemouth bass over in that area, and with a new boat ramp, work the mouth of the Spencer Creek and stuff like that. To be honest, it's going to be pretty exciting this year. They took those fish and they restocked them in a lot of different reservoirs, including Gerber. They put a lot of these fish that they took out of there and they put them over into Gerber Lake. So they revitalized Gerber Lake with a lot of interesting fish, and including better largemouth bass, which Gerber's not known for its bass population, but it has it. But it's a great spot for your crappie and for your pumpkin seed sunfish, which is the prettiest fish out of them all. I mean, pumpkin seed is just gorgeous. You catch one of those. It's not a very big fish, but you're gonna gasp. I mean, the blues and the purples and the oh, it is so pretty. It's a pretty fish is a pumpkin seed. Now the best place to fish Gerber is going to be over by the dam at the turn, and it is the best over by the dam. And you could go out there. You can do it from the bank if you want. Park out there in a tube or a boat. It works really, really well right there. It's a deep spot, but it's a fantastic spot for catching your panfish. Now, over in Willow Valley, I told you really got to understand that lake a little bit. It will be spilling over, and I think it might be spilling over now. But I have to get out there. It's about an hour and a half away, and if you go down, it's a dirt road. It's a forest road to get out there, but once you get out there, it's got a decent boat ramp, and it's got a sort of a primitive bathroom, but it's got a bathroom. But you go down that boat ramp, and you turn hard left. So on the left side of that boat ramp, along the shoreline, there's some underground trees or underwater trees right there in a little cove. Fantastic spot for the big bass. But there are other spots. But that's an easy one for me to tell you on the radio. It's left of the boat ramp, probably about 100 yards. And there are some underwater trees that are there, and it's perfect cover for the bass. Now, the water's cold still, all right? The bass aren't going to be hitting right now. But understanding what is happening with the water levels, we're getting good oxygenation. We're getting a good food supply into these reservoirs and these lakes, into the creeks. They are doing a lot of stocking in a lot of these places because in 2022 we had the worst drought in history. But because of the wet years, and some places were they were treated with rhodonone, and some of them were just dried up. So the ODFW has done a really good job at restocking and trying to revitalize these fisheries. Now, you wonder where your money's gone, when you buy a fishing license or a boating license or whatever. This is what you're paying for. You're paying to get ODFW to take care of our fisheries, our hatcheries, and so we can enjoy the outdoors and a sport that we thrive in. So make sure that you are properly licensed. So hopefully today's show gave you a lot of good information, and you can go online to Terrible Fishing or to the radio station's YouTube channel, and you can listen to this and pause it and take notes. So thank you very much, everybody. Tight lines to you, and we'll see you guys out on the water.